is our pinnacle of our athletic season, the Hall of Fame inductions. It's been a great tradition here at LIU Brooklyn, and it really brings everybody out. This is the one game I think where all alumni come and participate, no matter what sport. Just a lot of friendships, catching up, and the whole day is really just a fantastic day.
For me, it's the highlight of the year. This is our 13th annual LIU Athletics Hall of Fame. LIU Brooklyn has a rich history of athletics here, dating back to the late 1920s. We used to have a powerhouse men's basketball program, and we've been terrific the last 2 years. Traditionally, men's soccer, very strong here, baseball, very strong here. And we try to have representation from a variety of sports, including many of the sports that we no longer have. And also, you know, now we're seeing a lot of the athletes who were here since I've been in my role as Associate Director of Athletics. CRISTINA Pintilie is being inducted today. CAMILLA Harris is being inducted, and these are two young ladies who were here when I was Director of Athletic Media Relations. So it's a special day for me.
The class this year is very interesting. I think we got everybody in from every decade covered. So in the beginning, the committee has tried to get some of the people from the 50s and 60s, trying to get them in you know, well-deserving. They haven't been around the university for a while. But as the years have gone on, we've kind of spread the classes out. And this is a tremendous example of, I think we got just about every decade represented on this one. And a couple of new sports in volleyball. This is our first volleyball inductee. So this is probably our most broad-based class that we've had in history. Well, Freddie Burton I remember being at Fairleigh Dickinson when Freddie Burton was at LIU, and Freddie Burton could just flat out score. He was just a scorer, ran the team terrifically. I do remember those games. FDU and LIU had a long rivalry. They were two of the better teams in the league year in, year out. And Freddie just, he was the man that you had to stop to beat LIU.
You know, I was a student assistant at Fairleigh Dickinson, and I remember coming to LIU back in the late 80s and watching Freddie play and saying to myself, goodness gracious, this guy is just a beast. How are we going to stop this guy? He just lived on the foul line, got everybody in foul trouble. Freddie was just such a great player, and I'm glad he's going in. He's a great guy. So I'm glad to see him go in the Hall of Fame today.
Lou Hernandez, I don't know as well, but from what I can heard, he's one of those guys that can wake up 10 years from now and start hitting the ball all over the place. So I think we were close to when I pitched in collegiate ball and he was hitting. I think we may have faced each other. We're still trying to research that a little. I think we just missed each other, but you know, they had great hitting teams here at Long Island University. We got a lot of offensive firepower in the history of LIU baseball, so he's just another one that came through and just did tremendous things here.
We have Lou Hernandez, a terrific hitter, one of the all-time greatest, if not the greatest hitter in LIU baseball history.
Sammy is from the soccer team, and again from the championship soccer teams. I believe one of the first All-Americans that we had. Sammy just comes year in, year out. One of the first people when we started the soccer alumni games, he was one of the first guys here. His love for the university is tremendous, and I think people will find that out today at the banquet, how much he truly loves this university.
Sammy ISAJAR, who was the backbone of a defense. I mean, we were top 10 in men's soccer pretty much every year from '82 until about '86. We were top 10 in the nation, and Sammy was just as important a player as anybody on those teams.
CRISTINA Pintilie was just the first volleyball inductee, and during my reign here, and she was the first dominant player that we ever had here at LIU Brooklyn. I think we were always trying to build the program, and once we got her and Ivana, one of our setters, and started to come a little bit, but CRISTINA was the really put us on the map and really started this tradition of winning championships in the Northeast Conference.
CRISTINA Pintilie, who started, really took the volleyball program to the next level. Before CRISTINA arrived, you know, we really struggled in women's volleyball. We began the program in '93, and her arrival in 2002 signaled really a new era for volleyball, and we became a dominant team in this conference. So, you know, really, really terrific having her here as well.
Oh, Camilla Harris is another one of my era's athletes. Camilla Harris, going to the track meets when she would run like 5 events in one day, and plus, you know, long jump and triple jump, and truly an amazing athlete. Probably could go down one of the greatest female athletes ever, just from pure athleticism. Would have to run a 50-yard dash, then do a hurdle race 20 minutes later, then come back and run a 200 or a 400, and then, you know, jump into the long jump pit, and then, you know, jump in, and just an incredible athlete. And again, really responsible for the run of championships we got with women's track and field.
Camilla Harris, one of the most decorated athletes in the history of LIU. She's a great track and field athlete.
And Sharon is, you know, unfortunately, it's a sad story, but it's hopefully a story of celebration tonight. She was so instrumental in, again, the rise of the softball program as a player and then a coach. Still beloved by many. Many of the alumni still come out during our annual banquet. There's an award for her through the softball team, and she's just somebody that. You know, her spirit will never die here. She's just one of those people that touched everybody, and we're just happy to also have her family here today and be a part of that.
Sharon Pascal, who was an assistant coach here in '98, one of the finest human beings I've ever known in my life. She had the big bright smile, came to work every day with a big bright smile, terrific person, great coach. She played here from '92 to '95 and was a great power hitter, was probably our best hitter, one of the best hitters in the conference, graduated as the all-time home run leader at LIU, and then in 2001, she died tragically in a car accident. It was just an awful day, but Sharon's memory lives on, and she was, I can't say it enough, what an incredible person she was.
I think one of the great things about today is the fact that while the alumni come and some of them have been back, you always have 1 or 2 newcomers, and maybe a little bit more, that come back and look at the university, look what the university has done. They've never been in this facility. It's been here for 5 years. Some of them played in the old gym, and then they come in here and they just completely lose it. They can't believe the transformation that has happened, not only to the school, but Brooklyn. So I think we actually had 3 people that, you know, live far, 2 that live in Florida, 1 that lives in North Carolina right now, so they haven't been back in a while. So you always see that excitement of what's happening here at LIU Brooklyn, all the different things, and they look at the fields and they look at the arena and they say how far the university has come, and really in a relatively short amount of time. The dinner will take place after the men's game today. And one of the great things is, we say it every year and year out, we kind of invite some of the athletes to come in the back, and we bring them in the back of the gym, just so they can listen to how much they love how much they love this place. Not one speech has been very melancholy. It's always been full of excitement. It's always been, I loved it here. This is where I met my wife. This is where I met my husband. You know, all that excitement, and there's some tremendous emotion that takes place during these speeches. And I think for me, we have all our coaches there. I invite the athletes later just to watch the speeches, because I think it's important that they experience this too and see this is where you're at, this is our university, and this is the people that really set the trend and trailblaze for us to be to where we are today.
You know, we talk about Madison Square Garden, you know, being the world's most famous arena, and it is, and to me Madison Square Garden is the ultimate. But if you ask people, you know, 50, 60 years ago what the world's most famous arena was, you might get some people saying that the Brooklyn Paramount was the world's most famous arena. You had Alan Freed's weekly rock and roll show. Movies were filmed there. King Kong was filmed in the Paramount Theater. Part of the movie, the original King Kong, was filmed on that building. So it's really a special place. We still have the original architecture. It's very ornate in there. We have a mighty Wurlitzer pipe organ. There were only 2 Wurlitzer pipe organs in New York City, the Brooklyn Paramount and Radio City. So it's a special place, and it's a big part of our history.
Our Associate Athletic Director, Greg Fox, has really puts this thing together, soup to nuts. Greg has, one of the great things about Greg is he's the history buff of the athletic department. He could tell you who hit 282 in 1973 on the Blackbird team. I mean, he has it in that mind of his, and he knows everybody. He handles all of our alumni, the Blackbird Club, so he has a great feeling for these people and what they've accomplished, and it just goes to the rest of the staff and everybody. You know, Greg will know, and if we can't find the person, well, Greg will say, you know, we'll call up this person because he knows that person. So it's almost having like an historian on your staff on top of him. But he does the whole thing from, like I said, from soup to nuts, and it's a tremendous, it's a lot of work. It's a good 6-month project just to get everything together.
And I'd like to now introduce our athletic director, Mr. John Suarez.
I don't know, Christine, I always get to speak after you, after every year, so terrific, as always. Thank you all, again, for being here, and you can see why this is such a special occasion for us here at the athletic department. It is the pinnacle of our year to bring back all the alumni and then the new Hall of Fame inductees. And you can see the emotion, the love of LIU is never ending by everybody who's gone to school here and everybody that's been a part of the athletic department. Just a couple thank yous before we go. I just want to give a hand to Greg Fox, who did it. Greg does this from soup to nuts. And does a great job. I want to thank my staff for supporting, the coaches that are all here in supporting everything. I do have one personal connection to the inductees for the first time in 13 years, and that's Lou Hernandez. I was a senior at Fairleigh Dickinson pitching against Lou Hernandez, and there's debate in what happened. I feel I struck him out 3 times. There's debate from the LIU staff that he got 2 doubles off me. So I reminded the staff who signs their paycheck, and then all of a sudden they found out that I struck out Lou Hernandez 3 times in the thing. So just wanted to make that out. Sammy, I want to thank you for putting LIU on the death penalty as far as NCAA is. We'll be shutting down the athletic department after that speech. We counted, Matt, 17 violations in that speech, I think. Okay, that's what everybody, the coaches just went out and they all started their resumes to get new jobs, and because if anybody from the NCAA is here, we're just going to close up shop after that speech. So, yeah, so that was wonderful. Do not mention anything about cars. We tell our athletes that. Do not mention anything about cars. That's not good. So it's great. It's absolutely great to have you here. Just a little things, what's going on with the school right now. To some of you who are local, the university is now changing their moniker. Now we have to change all the signs. The school is now known as LIU Brooklyn. It is officially known as LIU. We'll never, in about 6 months, the words Long Island University will be no more. It will be LIU Brooklyn. Those of you who know our sister school, CW Post, will be known as LIU Post. There's billboards and subways, and someone said there's one big one on the Queens Midtown Tunnel, right? I think there's a huge billboard there with a now new advertising campaign. We love it. Personally, from an athletic standpoint, we want to be associated with Brooklyn. You can see what's going on right now with all the buildings. The Brooklyn Nets are coming here next year in the NBA. They're talking about the hockey team now, the Islanders possibly moving over here. The concerts opens up with Jay-Z and Beyonce. The university will be announcing, hopefully in a couple of months, we'll be corporate partners with the Barclays Center right there. So there's a lot of great things happening here at LIU Brooklyn. So we gotta make sure that we start saying that again. And as you can see athletically, those of you who've been back for 27 years, You can see some of the changes that have happened in our beautiful Wellness, Recreation, and Athletic Center, and another great win by both our men's and women's basketball team. By the way, our men's basketball team is 12-1 in the 13 years that we've had the Hall of Fame, so kind of been a sort of a good luck. The team that lost did not get any meal money for 3 days after that, so that was a little difficult. But there's a lot of things going on here. The baseball field, as Greg said, brand new turf. We got a whole bunch of things going on there. Hopefully getting those of you guys who played out there, that huge sidewalk we've been going after now for the last 2 years. So hopefully we'll be able to expand our baseball, softball, lacrosse, soccer complex in the next year or so. So the school is doing great. The school is healthy. Brooklyn is healthy. Everything's going great. So, and you can see by the reaction today, and our athletes today are just as excited about it going to school here as you guys were 20, 30 years ago. So things are good. I'd just like to conclude every dinner as I do. Some of you have been here every year, but I'll do it again. The words of my father, the best thing he ever taught me, the key to life is the ability to adapt to change. Okay, so don't ever forget that, the key to change, and everything changes in our life. Your boss changes, your wife or husband may change, your place of residence may change, everything changes constantly. But the one thing that does stay constant is where you went to school, your love of LIU, and your time that's spent here. And you can always know, you can always come back home. And that's what this is, it's home. So regardless of what happens in your life, you can always come back here to LIU Brooklyn and make sure you'll be welcomed with open arms as we move ahead in the next couple years, okay? So great, thanks for coming. Get home safe.